Everybody, and welcome to the 2021 City of Gloucester Candidate Forum at the high school. We're here for the Ward 2 candidates debate presented by the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce, Government Affairs Council. And my name is Bob Visnick. I'm here to moderate the debate because I'm from your sister community, Rockport, and I will not be voting for the candidates on November 2nd, but I wish you both good luck. Thank you to 1623 Studios. They'll be live streaming the forum tonight. And we have kept the candidates socially distant, so we will allow you to take off your mask when you're answering questions. And if having a mask on causes you undue stress, you can leave it off. For the hearing impaired, automated captions will be available on the recording of the forum, which can be viewed at a later date at 1623 Studios YouTube channel. I'd like to thank the high school for allowing us to be here this evening, and I would like to thank our sponsors who have helped make this night possible. The presenting sponsor is Amanda Armstrong Group of Compass. The gold sponsors are Ruth Pino of Remax 360 and the Cape Ann Savings Bank. And the silver sponsor is the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce Government Affairs Council very own member, Bob Gillis. So, the order of speaking has been determined by a coin flip, and Tracy's going to go first, and first for the closing statement. The order of questions is going to alternate between the candidates following the opening question. Each candidate, will have 90 seconds to answer the question and 30 seconds for a follow-up comment. We have a timekeeper here keeping track of the time, and we'll give 15-second warnings and stop signs with handheld signs. I will let you finish your thoughts, however, and we'll try not to interfere unless you ramble. Each candidate will be given 90 seconds to make a closing statement. We anticipate there'll be time for 5 to 7 questions. And these questions have been developed by the Greater Cape Ann Chamber's Government Affairs Council with input from the community and Gloucester High School students. I will read your bios very briefly, and then we'll get started. Pett is seeking re-election to his second term as Ward 2 City Councilor. He attended Syracuse University, Boston Architectural Center, Boston University, and Worcester Polytechnic Institute. At WPI, he majored in urban planning and earned a degree in civil engineering. A veteran who served in both the regular Army and the Army Reserve, Mr. Pett was discharged with the rank of captain, and we thank you for your service. In addition to his city council service, Mr. Pett was a longtime member of the Gloucester EDIC and the Gloucester Redevelopment Authority. He worked for Senator Bruce Tarr for over 15 years as Director of Constituent Services and Community Outreach and the Mass DOT Coordinator. Barry is a longtime member and past president of the Gloucester Rotary Club and co-founder and president of the Gloucester Fund. He is a lifelong Gloucester resident and a graduate of this Gloucester High School. Tracy O'Neill, candidate for Ward 2 City Councilor, has lived in Ward 2 her whole life, and she has raised her 2 sons, Nicholas and Jeremy Bamford, in that ward. She and her sons all went through the Gloucester school system and graduated from Gloucester High School. After working 17 years as a secretary in the seafood industry, she became a personal trainer. In 1996, she opened her own company, O'Neill Fitness. One aspect of her company was the boot camp workout on Good Harbor Beach, which she created and ran for 20 years, along with a small fitness studio. She credits her work with O'Neill Fitness for helping put both her sons through college. With her sons now grown and on their own, Ms. O'Neill is running for City Council to work on issues involving the neighborhood and the people of Ward 2. Okay, we are going to go right into the first question. And so, this one is going to start with Tracy, and it's about permitting. Do you feel the current permitting process strikes a healthy balance between protecting existing businesses and residents while also encouraging and welcoming new businesses? What, if anything, would you do to improve the city's permitting process?
The permitting process, I'm not familiar with it. I got a permit for my own business and I didn't see that it was difficult. So I don't see that there's a problem with it. We just have to have the right criteria, fill out the paperwork. It's a simple process.
Okay, we go on to Barry.
The permitting process for any type of business in the city is not that different from any other community. However, some have a more streamlined process. In other words, if you have to go before, and everyone doesn't have to do this, but if you have to go before the zoning board, the planning board, the conservation commission, all different types of boards and say subcommittees maybe on the city council and the building inspector's office, etc., I think we'd be better served if we were able to have a one-stop shop type form that could be checked off, and hopefully, in this case, someone in the administration that would help guide people through. And I think that would help improve the permitting process. Not that the administration, the different departments aren't, or volunteers on boards and commissions aren't doing their job, but we could streamline the process.
Okay, thank you. Barry, we start, do any?
No.
Okay, Barry, question about downtown. Parking improvements and better wayfinding have emerged as key recommendations in Gloucester's recently completed Local Rapid Recovery Plan. Please share your vision for making Gloucester's downtown more welcoming and accessible for residents and visitors to support and encourage shopping locally. And how would you prioritize and pay for related downtown improvements?
There are many ways that the administration can finance some of the projects to go ahead and make these improvements. I've worked for the last couple of years to help the downtown businesses get through the pandemic area, such as the restaurants, et cetera, getting outside dining, and also we were able to get the work with our state legislature and got the seasonal liquor license holders to be able to have another a year. They got to not stop from January 15th to April 1st. I think we need to continue to work to keep the downtown very viable and connect Main Street area to down in Rogers Street and even to, say, the Boulevard, where our absolutely gorgeous display is down there, and encourage all that work and work with the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce, Discover Gloucester, and the administration, the Community Development Department, et cetera, to do all of this.
Tracy?
Repeat the question.
Sure. Parking improvements and better wayfinding have emerged as key recommendations in Gloucester's recently completed Local Rapid Recovery Plan. Please share your vision for making Gloucester's downtown more welcoming and accessible for residents and visitors to support and encourage shopping locally. And how would you prioritize and pay for related downtown improvements?
You said parking issues and what was the?
Wayfinding.
Wayfinding?
Yes. Signs that tell you how to get.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, wayfinding.
Okay. So this may seem like a pretty bizarre idea, but someone had mentioned it to me, and it was mentioned earlier in the earlier debate that some tourists don't know where Main Street is. They can't find Main Street. Might be a little bizarre, but Washington Street goes right down to Angle Street, which goes to Main Street, if you make Main Street one way in the opposite direction. Just a thought. Just a thought. We do some crazy things when they have the go-karts on Rogers Street, right? Main Street's one way, and Rogers Street is cut off. We've had Main Street go the other direction a couple of times, right? Anyway, That's just an idea. There are some grants out there from the state for businesses. I know that. As far as signage goes, yeah, we could do more signs. That's, you know, that's not a problem, I don't think. That's about it.
All right. Any rebuttal or response?
I would just say that, yes, we have done some of the traffic things. As it's many years ago, but my college degree did involve some traffic things, and the city of Gloucester has tried changing Main Street to the other direction. They've actually tried it twice over the years, and neither time was successful, and decided to go back to the other way. I'm the one that did all the road closures for the Fish Box Derby going down on Roger Street and changing Main Street, etc. So I'm familiar with it, and we, we'll continue to do what we can to make it all welcoming, whether it's to our residents or to tourists.
Thank you. Any further response? Okay. And Tracy, this question comes from a Gloucester High School student. How would you communicate with and develop relationships with the citizens of Gloucester to better understand the people whom your decisions affect and help improve the lives of our city's diverse communities?
Well, I've been doing a lot of door knocking, so I've spoken with a lot of people. So I feel like I'm getting to know my neighborhood better and my ward very well. Regarding high school students, I just thought of this the other day, and I didn't have time to call GMGI. I know they have educational programs at GMGI, which will turn into paid internships. And I'm wondering how we can connect with them more, have them have more programs that will connect with high school students to teach them marine biology, and that way when they get out of school they'll have a job, and they'll connect with the water, and I think that's a good idea, actually.
Thank you. And forgive me, I didn't interrupt you to tell you you can take your mask off when you respond, but you can do that. Any response to that, Barry?
Yeah, I would like to respond, and that was, it is good to take your mask off because it's difficult to hear our answers otherwise. But I think there's a number of things for our youth today. Our marine waterfront economy is being boosted. We have not only our traditional fishery that is not gone, it's still there. We have people working there, and GMGI and their biotech different avenues have different ways of helping the kids to move forward. I think also we need to continue to improve our vocational programs, even though we have one of the most phenomenal programs in North Shore Tech and Aggie. If we improve ours locally and add some new programs that are relevant to Gloucester, that'll improve. And then what we need to do, and again, and it's not for necessarily just for the kids, but we need to have housing that's affordable, where those people that are born here and have grown up here can continue to live here if they're going to work here. All those jobs aren't going to do anything if the people can't afford to live here. Thank you.
Any further comment? Okay. We move on. Barry. The Chamber's Government Affairs Council has identified affordable workforce housing as a priority need for all Cape Ann communities. In a recent visit, the state's Housing and Economic Development Secretary said Massachusetts is in a housing crisis. I think we all knew that. To help produce more housing, state law was recently changed to allow zoning changes by majority vote of the City Council. And there were other changes as well. What zoning changes will you support to help meet Gloucester's housing needs?
Again, Gloucester's housing plan, we have already at the council level approved changes in the zoning so that we can have, say, single family. You can have additional units that aren't just for, for your family members. There's a number of different things that are in the plan to move forward. We also have worked, the administration has worked, and that's more than the council itself, has worked on getting projects such as the project at Cameron's into existence now, which is truly, truly workforce housing. It's not like, say, the Halyard apartments where the city got some financial assistance to do for affordable housing, but that's not affordable workforce housing. And I believe the administration is working now on the old Cape Ann YMCA to bring more units on again. And I think those things are critical. Doing whatever we can to change the zoning to improve this, and also the council to work with the administration on improving our housing stock.
Thank you. Tracy? And you can remove your mask.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We have Community Preservation Act funds in the city. We have a total in the general reserve of $1,490,000, $122.63. Okay, so we have over $1 million in reserve that can be used for first-time home buyers. That's my thought, senior housing, whatever you can do to, they already changed the zoning so that you can have a family member add on to your home or your property. So I think that's good. Both my children can't afford to live here. They're gone. Out of state, out of the country, and because they cannot afford to live in this town. I can barely afford it. So some of that CPA funds you pay for, you pay for that when you pay your real estate tax bill, okay? Look on your real estate tax and as CPA, that's Community Preservation Act funds. That's your money you're paying every quarter. So that $1 million is ours, yours, mine, your children's. So I think that we should tap into that. I'm not saying we need to take all of it, but it's there. And we can help people buy a first home, and we can help seniors. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Just a comment that every year the CPA funds, people apply for them. There are hearings, and then they make decisions as to where that money is going to be applied. Sometimes it's held over, some portions of it are held over to the following year, et cetera. But every year, CPA funds are used for many different things, and I have no disagreement that that there wouldn't be a way if someone was going to apply for a project that they could use that funds in that manner.
Any further comment?
Yep, just that they need to apply. That's you don't get what you don't ask for, and if you don't know it's available, you can't ask for it. So now you know it's your money, it's available, and if you have, a child that you want to add to your property, or housing to your property for your child, call the city clerk and figure it out. I mean, I'll help you figure it out. If you elect me your Ward 2 councilor, we'll figure it out together.
Well, thank you, ma'am, but we have to move forward. Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Gloucester is celebrating its 400th anniversary in 2023, just over 1 year from now. Tracy, please describe your vision for Gloucester 10 years from now, and what would you focus on in the next 2 years in order to achieve that vision?
Oh, Gloucester 10 years from now. This question was asked earlier of the at-large.
You were paying
Councilor.
attention.
Yeah. And one of the counselors said, you know, I need to think of today. And I think that's very relevant. We have a brand new school that's supposed to be built if the lawsuit doesn't win. And we're renting property for preschool at the Blackburn Industrial Park, and we're renting property at St. Anne's for the children. It just doesn't seem like we have a plan for today. So for today, in the next 2 years, maybe figure out what you're going to do. Why are we paying rent for all these properties? It just doesn't, to me, make sense. So we need a plan to, you know, figure out the next 2 years, and then figure out the next 5, and then from there we'll go to 10, and we'll have a beautiful city, and all will be right with the world.
Thank you. Barry.
The city of Gloucester is very lucky to have Ruth Pino, Bob Gillis, and former Mayor Bruce Toby as the tri-chairs of the Gloucester 400 committee. The theme is, you know, our people, our stories. And we have 400 years of heritage that we need to share with the world. And hopefully all different groups will do things with assistance from the city. It's not a question of the city putting it out. And I would hope that 10 years from now, we have learned from that sharing of the experiences in our heritage, that we come up with a plan. When Tracy was talking about, again, the schools and, you know, renting properties. We also rent down on Pond Road for the, you know, for the DPW, et cetera. Well, there's a plan, you know, for building a new building at the DPW yard. I was just yesterday, I had a tour of the St. Anne School, the current use for the replacement school. It's wonderful. But we had discussion with the superintendent and the principal about those issues of the money that's being paid to rent spaces for the administration and the K through 5, and also for the St. Anne's for the transition property. And they are working on trying to make decisions that hopefully will be made within the next year to 2, so that when our 400th anniversary is here, that we've made decisions on whether we're going to buy and own these properties and do things, you know, that way versus spending large sums of money on other people's properties.
Thank you. Any additional comments?
I have a question, especially where you went to St. Anne's yesterday. Yep. Do they have sprinklers yet?
Excuse me?
Do they have sprinklers in the school yet?
I don't know if they have sprinklers in there. There is a number of things that are done in these interim schools that, again, we can't do it in a new school, but on a temporary basis, the state can authorize us to do something and use spaces. Again, there aren't elevated, you know, there's stairs up and down in that school, but the spaces are actually wonderful. The children are able to be spread out. There's wonderful windows, and, you know, so there's light, and there's space for all of the specialty needs type staff that has been a problem at, you know, the elementary schools, where they can't have where they have, say, three specialty staff in one room, and when they have a student that needs to have attention, the other 2 people have to leave the room and go out in the hallway for privacy reasons. In St. Anne's, at the moment,
We've run out of time.
They do.
And if you have any additional comments on that question, on the vision question?
Yeah.
Okay. We now move on, and this is going to start with Barry. We're talking about the harbor and the working waterfront. Gloucester's harbor has played a vital role in our local economy dating back to pre-colonial times. The process for updating Gloucester's 10-year harbor plan, a blueprint for the future of this key city resource, is now underway and scheduled to be completed over the next 2 years. If you are elected or re-elected, how will you ensure that this plan best addresses threats such as aging infrastructure and storms, as well as blue economy opportunities?
I was lucky some 20 years ago of being on the harbor plan as a representative from the Gloucester Redevelopment Authority. I also I joined the GRA at the invitation of the mayor after the debacle at I-4C2, and worked with Coastal Zone Management to develop the Harbor Cove dockage that's down there today, and ran it as the best dockage facility in town. We have a problem in Gloucester that over 90%, almost 95% of the property is privately owned versus, say, a city like New Bedford, where 91% of the property is owned by the city, and they can do all sorts of things to make changes. We have a problem that going through the process, many of the private businesses either run out of money doing things, or they run into some legal challenges and can't do that. But we need to work together every way we can, the administration and the council, to help the marine waterfront continue to thrive.
Thank you. Tracy?
I would obviously like to see...
And I think it's better without that mask. Forgive me for being a nerd.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous. I'm not used to being on stage.
That's okay.
It's been a while.
Imagine everybody out there in their underwear.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
No, it doesn't help for me either.
So, being born and raised in Gloucester, my father was a meat cutter, okay? So the fishing industry, my grandfather was a lobsterman. And we used to go fishing for bait fish and fill the lobster traps and whatnot. So I want to see the waterfront thrive with the fishing industry. Monkfish and dogfish that come in to our port get shipped out and they get processed elsewhere. So if we can have a facility to process monkfish and dogfish and whatever other species might pop up, have a facility here to process those two types of fish would be a good thing. So Gloucester is probably the most active lobster port in Massachusetts. It's a very important port in Massachusetts and in the United States for lobster. The seafood industry has one of the highest paying wages. And we pay out $100 million a year in wages in Gloucester seafood industry. We have more fishermen, more vessels, more trip landings, and more active dealers purchasing than New Bedford and more than in Boston. Processing is shrinking, but wholesaling is growing. So the seafood industry is alive and well. Thank you.
Any further comments?
Just a comment that yes, Gloucester is Massachusetts' #1 lobster port. We developed at the Harbor Cove dockage 11 slips down there, and at St. Peter's Marina, another, I believe it's 9 down there. The lobster industry is a very important part, and there are many other again, specialized species or just regular species that are important to keep our marine economy and the fishing economy continuing to thrive. It's different than it was 100 or 50 or 25 years ago, but it is thriving.
Thank you. Tracy, anything further on that?
No.
Okay. All right, 2 related questions. We talked about the maritime economy, the working waterfront. Now let's talk about tourism. Tracy, Gloucester's economic prosperity relies significantly on tourism. Please share your ideas on how the City Council can support that and help the tourist industry prosper.
Well, we have, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I'm pulling a blank here. We have the outdoor concerts up at the gazebo. We stopped outdoor concerts at Harbor Loop for a while. I think we had a couple this year. Did we?
I think we did.
Yeah, but we used to have them every week, so we could do that. That'll bring people in for the concerts, and they'll come and they'll spend money, they'll have dinner. We could have more block parties, which would be nice. And those are my ideas. Just increase the amount of concerts, block parties, celebrations.
Thank you.
This year, the Harbor Loop concerts were moved to the Harbor Loop concerts at Stageford Park because of a conflict with the Cape Ann Farmers Market, which was moved from Stageford Park down to Harbor Loop, and there were some conflicts there. And the city tried to do the best they could, and that's why they were switched around. 25 years ago, the city had a tourism coordinator or director. Today, we have the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce, and we have Discover Gloucester. And we need to work with those two organizations, with the city administration, specifically the Community Development Department, and whether the council can help do things like we did to allow the outside dining, et cetera, to bring more people downtown. Again, we have to approve on subcommittee P&D, have to approve street closures for things like the block parties, et cetera. Those are all things we can do to help. But mostly we have to work with the Greater Cape Ann Chamber of Commerce and Discover Gloucester to spread the word and bring these people here to Gloucester to see all that we do have.
Thank you. Anything? I'm sorry. We were just. It's not part of our format tonight. I agree. It would be nice to have questions. We just can't do it. Okay, Tracy. Anything further?
No.
Okay. We now move on to the third related question: creative economy. Gloucester's downtown has a vibrant historical, artist, and cultural community. If elected, what steps, or re-elected, what steps would you take to bring more support and funding to the arts in downtown Gloucester and Gloucester's overall creative economy?
So I'm all in support of the arts, but I hesitate to say that there are people out there who have plans for a theater on the I-4C2 lot. And to me, that's not the place for it. It should stay down. Arts is a great thing, right? We have artists all over the place, and we should welcome more artists. But a theater the I-4C2 is a designated port area, and it's zoned marine industrial through the city. And a theater is not water dependent, so it does not belong on I-4C2. I apologize to the art community. You belong here for sure. We have beautiful beaches and sunsets and sunrises. It's a beautiful, beautiful place to be and to picture and to paint. But as far as a giant theater on the waterfront, I believe it should have gone on the back shore. Ocean View Inn was for sale for years, and I believe a theater of that magnitude belongs on the back shore or elsewhere, not in the middle of town. Thank you.
And I apologize, this question should have first gone to Barry, but forgive me.
Okay. The artist community has been a part of Gloucester's history for virtually the 400 years that we've been here. Rocky Neck is known throughout the world as an artist's haven, artist colony. People like Homer lived on 10-Pound Island in 1880 and painted one of the famous fireworks paintings, fireworks over Gloucester Harbor, July 4th, 1880. Downtown in the business Main Street area, many of the artists have studios up above. There are art galleries there, and we have some now in Magnolia as well. And we need to do everything we can to support the continuation of our artists here, just as the Greater Cape Ann Chamber has done with the plein air festivals the last number of years, where they've brought people from all around the world to our artist community.
Thank you. Tracy, anything further?
No.
Okay. Last question. We'll start with Barry, and here it is. And you've heard it before if you've followed our previous debate. The City of Gloucester has received substantial amount of unrestricted funding from the federal and state government. This has been described as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the city to address unmet needs and shape its future. Please tell us your priorities for the use of these funds and the process that the City Council should use to help determine how best to use them.
I think what has happened, obviously, in the world with the pandemic has created all sorts of issues. And we're lucky that there is federal and state dollars and large amounts of dollars. But we need to continue to let the administration direct us to get the most effective use of funds, et cetera. And then the City Council can assist where necessary in doing it. I don't think, we're a legislative body. We are not the ones to come up and suggest or, decide on what we should do. When things are in the budget process, there's a Budget and Finance Committee. The administration does their budget, and then we review and adjust the budget. But all of this, the extra dollars that are available, et cetera, we don't want to just splurge on things. It's the administration carefully looking at it and deciding on what projects, and then hopefully working together with the council to make them come to fruition.
Thank you. Tracy?
My understanding is that the wastewater treatment plant has to be either refurbished or rebuilt, or a new wastewater treatment plant should be built. I'm not quite sure which one of those things needs to be done. I know at its present location, there's a risk of flooding, which is not good for a wastewater treatment plant. I went on the mass.gov today, and I have a couple of different figures here. Massachusetts got a total of $113 billion. So I think we should, tap some of that and ask, write a grant. We do have grant writers, or if we don't have one, we need to get one, to write a grant so that we don't have to pay it back. I don't know how much a new treatment plant would cost, but Barry probably knows. But we should get grant money for that. So that's a priority, wastewater treatment plant. The Zoom meetings. As a citizen, I can't see who's on a Zoom meeting when the City Council has a meeting. To me, that's bothersome, because I don't know if I'm the only one listening into this meeting and I'm the only one who can hear myself speak, or if there's 50 people. So spend some of that money to help the infrastructure of the internet so that they can help us see who's at the meetings. Because they say that the meetings have been very well attended. So I don't know, because I can't see who's on the meetings. I think that's important. Thank you.
Thank you. Any response?
Follow-up. The wastewater treatment plant, there has been discussion with the federal government going back almost 30 years that we needed a secondary treatment plant, and it's only just recently that finally, through all the hard work of the administration, that we got the okay, that the government agrees that the work that we did like 15 years ago or 20 years ago, whatever it is now, when we extended the sewer outfall, et cetera, that hopefully we don't have to build a new plant. As far as the coastal water rise issues, the city is already in the process of building protection around the wastewater treatment plant. It doesn't solve the issue. Maybe, who knows how many years it'll be down the road, but the city is addressing it. I think we're on the right track, and if the city council can help in some way, I'm more than happy to listen and see what we can do to assist.
Thank you. Any follow-up?
So you mentioned they're building a wall around the treatment facility?
It's not really a wall. There's baffles and things like that. There's actually a 3-stage process.
So how is that getting paid for?
A lot of it is through federal money.
Okay.
It's not something that we're adding to our tax base or something like that.
Okay, thank you both. Earlier this evening, we had a very sophisticated coin toss that was supervised by representatives from Price Waterhouse as well as Ernst & Young. And so it was very fair. And based on that process, Tracy is going to give the first closing statement and followed by Barry. I'll give you each a moment or two to have some water and to put your thoughts together, and then we'll get started.
Okay, thank you. My name's Tracy O'Neill. I'm running for Ward 2 City Councilor. If elected, I will speak for you. I have walked the neighborhoods. I know what they're like. I know who lives there. I know what you want and what you need. And if I don't know what you want or what you need, there's handouts in the foyer with my home phone, my cell phone, and my email address. Pick one up and call me, email me, whatever. The reason I got in this is because I don't have a sidewalk. I do have a sidewalk, but it's been so run over that it's basically non-existent and broken and crumbled. Cars drive right up over it, and I brought the attention to the City Hall pre-COVID, and I gave them my phone with pictures of tread marks in the snow this far from my gate, on a sidewalk, on a curve, on a hill. And one of the city councilors said, "We don't know if that's true or not." So that's one reason. Another reason is recently in a Zoom meeting, I asked a question of Michelle at Doran Whittier, and they said, "Oh, it's 9 o'clock, it's time to close the meeting. So we'll answer your question tomorrow night." Tomorrow night came, I got my chance to ask the question, and Brad Dorr said, "We're not answering that question, it's not on the agenda." And I said, "You told me last night you'd answer it tonight." "I don't care, it's not on the agenda, and we're not gonna answer it." He is not a city councilor. He should not be running that meeting. That was it for me. That's why I'm running. I want your voice to be heard. I want my voice to be heard. And if you elect me, we will be heard.
Thank you.
I am Barry Pett. I am the current Ward 2 Councilor, and I'm a veteran. I'm interested in continuing to work with the downtown issues of businesses, both retail, restaurants, etc., and downtown residences, waterfront marine businesses, traffic and parking issues in the entire ward, education for our children citywide, and financial responsibility for the future. I'm looking to continue building more truly affordable housing so that those who are born here can continue to live here and work here. And I'm interested in actually connecting the downtown Main Street area with the Rogers Street Marine Industrial Waterfront and on down to the Boulevard to attract more people to our community. So I'm hoping to get your vote on Tuesday, November 2nd. And thank you for listening this evening. And thank you to the Greater Cape Ann Chamber for hosting us this evening, and to you, Bob, for moderating.
Thank you. Well, thanks to you both. I think your passion and your knowledge and your professionalism and your interest in serving our community is just inspirational. And it was wonderful to speak with both of you and to hear your views this evening. So I think Gloucester is a very fortunate community to have people such as yourselves running for office. And I'd like to thank the Chamber, thank the school, thank 1623, and thanks to this vast audience out here. And have a good evening, and let's hope the Red Sox can make up some ground pretty quickly. Good night.